Hello everyone, I'm Dhruv Advani. I obtained All India Rank 5 in NEET 2023 and I'm currently a student in AIIMS New Delhi. Today I'm going to be talking about the importance of mock tests and their analysis for NEET 2024. In my opinion, mock tests are the single most important thing that anyone can do to write any competitive exam, but especially NEET, because this is an exam that is based on, it has certain patterns of questions that are guaranteed to come. And if you solve mock tests, you will be done with those questions, right? So while revising theory is important, knowing everything that is there in the textbook is very important. Nothing is more important than practicing and writing your mock tests, because it will help you with multiple things. It will help you with your time management, because again, you have only 3 hours 20 minutes to go through 200 questions, solve 180 of them. So you need to have speed, you need to have accuracy, and even if you have accuracy through practicing a lot of questions, unless you solve it in a test format with marks and you give yourself that feedback system, it will be very difficult for you to get the adequate speed to finish this exam in time. Along with that, it will give you an basically it will give you an overview about how the exam is going to be. What type of
question? The speed and the accuracy, and then the second point.
Okay, so NEET is an exam that is based on speed and accuracy. And even if you're able to perform, get incredibly accurate answers by taking a lot of time, it's very difficult to get the speed you need to solve all the 200 questions or 180 questions within 3 hours and 20 minutes without doing a lot of mock tests. So therefore, they're very important helping you with time management. Another thing is that this solving mock test gives you a sense of how the exam is going to be, what kinds of questions are going to come, how you're going to approach them, whether you need to look at the options first and then analyze backwards or the other way. All of that, again, it plays into speed. It also plays into understanding the models of questions that can come, and it will optimize your preparation a lot. Because you don't need to read things that are never asked or that cannot be asked in a MCQ format. You do not need to keep remembering them or anything like that. And there are a lot of tough concepts like that which cannot be asked in the MCQ form. And then along with questions and all of this, I would say analysis of mock papers is very, very important, because that is a part, even if you are writing a lot of papers, a lot of people tend to forget that it is important to analyze them as well. You need to make sure you're keeping a note of all the errors you're making, whatever mistakes you make. You need to know why you're making them, and you need to keep a record of them. Okay, this is a very important tool. Keeping a record of all of your mistakes is very helpful, because later on, let's say 1 month before the NEET exam, if you start going through all of your errors in that one record that you've kept, what you'll realize is you won't make these mistakes again in the NEET exam. You've made them once and now you know the concept behind it also. So another part, along with recording the errors, is revise the concept behind those errors. So basically it's like you made an error in one mock exam, but that's one less error you will make in the NEET exam. And that is the logic behind writing as many papers as you can also. If you make all the mistakes you're going to make during the mock papers itself, then there's very few mistakes that you will end up making during the NEET exam. And that is very helpful again. So you need to keep yourself open to learning. You need to write as many papers as you can. And this becomes especially important during the last few months of preparation. For example, those who are in 12th grade now, you'll be having your board exam soon, and then you'll have, I think, around a month and a half until your NEET exam. So what happened, what I did was, in the last month, I wrote 3 mock papers a day. Now, that it is very important to remember that this is not possible for everyone. It depends on the level of your preparation. Okay, if you have completed NCERT, you don't need to go through the concepts again, then this becomes possible. And your speed is enough that you're able to finish it in, let's say, 2.5 hours at the max. So that's when that's when this becomes possible. But I would recommend that during your last month of prep, you try your best to solve as many mock papers as you can, because the more questions you see in that time, the more, like, the better you'll do, the more you'll remember, right? So it is, while it is important to solve mock papers throughout your preparation, there is no time like that last month. You need to do as much practice as you can, and try to finish your NCRT revision as early as possible, because 12th NCRT you will be finishing for boards anyways. So you'll have your 11th NCRT left, and that you should be able to finish, provided you have prepared before, you've written some exams and all. You should be able to finish that within a maximum of, let's say, 2 weeks, 1.5 to 2 weeks. All right. And then write mock tests. So I would say fundamentally mock tests are the most important thing you can do. You should write any mock test you can get your hands on, but there are some that cannot be avoided. You have to write previous year NEET papers. These will help you a lot because it will give you the types of questions that come. And then you should also solve the mock paper that is given on the NTA. There's an app, I don't remember the name, but NTA releases one mock paper for NEET. That is also very important. After that, you can join a test series, or you can utilize a coaching test series. That's what I did. I utilized my coaching test series. Or you can, even if you're not in a coaching, you can just buy the test series, because these tests will help you a lot. They'll give you a lot of practice, and online also there are a lot of tests. Online papers are also there, so keep those in mind. Okay, write as many papers as you possibly can. Make sure you analyze them. Don't give up analysis in favor of writing more mock tests. Even if you write only one a day or one a week, it is more important to understand the errors you make in that one test rather than to write 20 and then not learn anything from them, because then there's not much point to it. So fine, in conclusion, mock tests are very, very important for the NEET exam. I would say the most important thing. Make sure you write as many mock tests as possible, especially during the last month, and analyze them. Maintain a record of all the errors you make, and ensure that you remember all the questions. You go through that record also once just before your exams. All the very best. लंबा करना है क्या?
तो सर ये almost 3 minutes of content.
I don't know what to say actually, because और कुछ
If it's-
है नहीं.
There's nothing else. Then we can skip it.
Oh, I'll say one thing. हाँ.
Okay.
ठीक है. Also, when you're solving mock tests, it's very important to solve them in different environments and to solve them in different manners. For example, you can try solving it in you can try biochemistry, physics to be the order in which you attempt the paper. Then you can try chemistry, physics, bio, or physics, chem, bio, or whatever order you want, and find the one that works for you best. I found that what worked for me was biochemistry, physics, and I think this is what works for most people, but that need not be true. So try out different combinations, find out what works for you. Also, find out your technique of bubbling the OMR, and this is something that actually needs to be stressed on, that is very often forgotten. So because the OMR bubbling will decide your efficiency of completing the exam. So what I used to do was, I would finish the entire paper once. I answer all the questions, then I would go back through and revise, and when I was going through the second time for the paper, then I would bubble the answers after checking. And that took a lot of practice, because it started off as me barely completing the paper in 3 hours 20 minutes. But over time, as I continued practicing, I was able to evolve this strategy. But this is not what works for many people. I've found that I've heard that for a lot of people, it's finishing one complete section and then bubbling it at the end, or finishing bubbling simultaneously. Whatever works for you, make sure you're doing that carefully and you don't make any errors in OMR bubbling, because there is no mistake that will hurt you more than an OMR mistake, because you knew the answer, but it was a careless mistake. And that again, to make sure you don't make any careless mistakes in OMR bubbling, write mock tests, but write the mock tests with full OMR, with the time limit, and make sure you're completing everything properly with the roll number bubbling also. Because roll number bubbling is also important. There are people who can get it wrong in the stress of the exam, and that is not something that should happen. That was my biggest fear. I'll bubble the roll number wrong. And yeah, so basically take care about your bubbling also. And one more thing I would recommend is solve mock papers in different environments in the last month. You need not do this from the start, it's not that important, but if you have have time at the end, make sure you solve it in different environments, because the exam hall will not be an ideal environment at all. Like, it's very rare that someone gets an amazing exam hall where there's no noise in the surroundings or the tables are perfect or anything like that. So make sure you solve it in uncomfortable environments, in different light conditions, with a clock, without a clock, because you're not allowed to watch. So, and in different clothes, whatever clothes, make sure you also solve one paper in your neat outfit, because there are some rules about the clothes you're allowed to wear and all. So make sure you know those properly and wear those clothes and solve a neat paper, a mock paper. Basically, do everything you can to mimic the exam day so that you're prepared for anything that is thrown your way. Now, I think that's about it. So again, I would like to emphasize that for solving mock papers and then analyzing them is very, very important. Absolutely essential for getting a good rank in NEET 2024. I wish you guys all the very best.